Do you like the sea? What are the chances that you will meet a sea monster, and have you ever heard of sea creatures, gigantic monsters that can end your life in moments? But how real is this? And today we will see the history of the fascinating and fearful Kraken, a giant tentacled creature capable of causing enormous destruction. Today we will see its myths, so get comfortable and let's dive into the history of the Kraken. Let's start. We go back to the Norse myths, and the Kraken is a mythological creature that inhabited the bottom of the sea, passing through Norway to Iceland, even being close to the island of Greenland. It was detailed as a type of octopus or giant squid that, emerging from the depths, attacked ships and devoured sailors. Some of the survivors of the Kraken attacks described it as a giant creature of more than 90 meters. Some said it was like a floating island, had huge and strong tentacles. The myth had so much relevance during the 18th century in Europe that it was included in the first scientific studies of the natural world. Thanks to the technological advances and great explorations that have been made to learn more about the marine world, many scientists have determined that the great creature that terrified the sailors of those times was a giant squid. But if it was a squid, how did its history begin, or by whom it was first mentioned? Well, the story of the Kraken comes from a story written in 1180 by King Sverre of Norway. For the ancient sailors, the sea was a treacherous and dangerous place, capable of hiding in its depths an unimaginable amount of monsters. For this reason, any unknown animal that they found would become a mythological creature in the stories of sailors. In this way, this myth became very popular and was what led to scientific research in the 18th century. Continuing with its history, Carlos Linnaeus included the Kraken as a cephalopod with the scientific name of Microcosmus in the first edition of his studies in 1735. The Kraken is also extensively detailed by Erik Pontoppidan. He describes the destructive potential of the beast, and it is not only the creature. Pontoppidan also mentions that Norwegian sailors usually took the risk of fishing on the Kraken, as the fishing was excellent. If a fisherman had a good catch, they would comment among themselves that they must have fished on top of a Kraken. Since the late 18th century, the Kraken has been shown in multiple ways, primarily in the form of large creatures resembling octopuses, and it has often been claimed that Pontoppidan may have been based on observations of giant squid sailors. However, in early definitions, the creatures looked more like octopuses and crabs and generally had features associated with large whales rather than giant squid. Some features of the Kraken resemble the underwater volcanic activities that occur in the Icelandic region, such as bubbling water, dangerous currents, and the appearance of new islets. In 1802, French malacologist Pierre-Denis de Montfort recognized the existence of two types of giant octopuses in the General and Specific Natural History of Mollusks, an encyclopedic description of mollusks. Montfort states that the first type, the Kraken octopus, was described by Norwegian sailors and whalers in the United States, as well as by ancient writers such as Pliny the Elder. Regarding the second most important category, the colossal octopus was reported in connection with an attack on a St. Malo sailing ship off the coast of Angola. Montfort then ventured to make new claims. He suggested that 10 British warships, including the Paris City ship, that mysteriously disappeared one night in 1782 should have been attacked and sunk by giant octopuses. Unfortunately for Montfort, the British were sunk by a hurricane off the coast of the island of Newfoundland, as was learned from the story of the survivors of the city of Paris. Pierre-Denis de Montfort's career was never found, and he died hungry and poor in Paris around 1820. I hope you are enjoying about the history of the Kraken and learning new things. Now we will see how the Kraken attacked, but first I ask you to subscribe, and if you like the video, like it and leave a comment. Now let's continue. As we saw, the Kraken was a huge giant squid with a brutal force, in addition to having long tentacles, and this made things easier for him, and with his tentacles could intercept ships and drag them to the bottom of the ocean. Also, when the Kraken did not attack with tentacles, began to swim in circles around the ship, this produced a strong whirlpool capable of sinking the boat and devouring the entire crew. However, the stories tell that it was common to see a large amount of fish around this. monster, and for this reason many brave fishermen, or perhaps a little crazy, took advantage of this moment to approach the beast and fish abundantly. Sailors on sailing ships that sailed the deep sea would watch the deep waters very cautiously for any suspicious bubbles or seabed lit up with red eyes like fire. These signs were unmistakable clues that the Kraken was near and ready to emerge and attack any vessel that crossed its path. The depths of the water, and attack any vessel that crossed its path and devour those unfortunate enough to fall into the sea. Its enormous tentacles easily wrapped around the masts or the entire ship and carried them away. The ship, thus this creature would carry them to the bottom and prevent its prey from escaping its attack with the help of a whirlpool that it created itself. The chances of escaping its terrible attack were practically nil. As we can see, the Kraken was a terrifying mythological creature for sailors, and although it certainly has not been discovered if it was real, the magic of the myths is still present, and that makes us believe that possibly if it existed. If you liked this video, do not forget to subscribe, and see you in the next video. See you later.